Action Trump campaign national spokesperson Katrina Pierson and Clinton supporter and DNC committee man from New York, Robert Zimmerman. Great to see you both.
Good evening.
Well, Harry Reid gives as good as he gets, so I think we can take him off the table. But let's talk about where Trump is, Katrina, because he's been on the straight and narrow for a few weeks, and his poll numbers are doing great. So why start ripping on Anderson Cooper, who is a very solid journalist who's not even on the air this week? He's out of town. And why start threatening to go after Hillary? And why, for the love of God, won't he just say that Barack Obama was born in the United States?
Well, look, here we are 15 months later, and still there are many in the media that expect Donald Trump to be some robotic politician, and that's just not who he is. You know, he was asked to respond to Colin Powell's comments, and he did. He's not going to let the media determine what he talks about and when, and that's exactly what you're seeing here today. Mr. Trump is going to be Mr. Trump. He will respond when he feels like it. And it's just really unfortunate that Mr. Trump simply wants to focus on his policies, which is something that everyone's been saying they want to hear, but yet we keep hearing these diversionary tactics by the Clinton campaign and the media, which is CNN.
But before I move on to Robert, what about the, Barack Obama being born here? Because this is what his campaign manager and his chief, Rudy Giuliani, said about that issue, because Trump had been pushing the birtherism thing, saying Barack Obama wasn't born here, he wasn't born in Hawaii. This is what they said a couple days ago. Watch.
He believes President Obama was born here. I was born in Camden, by the way, New Jersey. He was born in Hawaii.
Donald Trump believes now that he was born in the United States. But that issue was raised originally. That issue was raised originally.
When is he going to say that this president is?
I believe it. He believes it. We all believe it. But it took a long time to get it out.
So why wouldn't he say it when asked tonight?
Well, simply because he has said that he does not talk about that anymore. First thing is, Barack Obama is not on the ballot and not even relevant to this election cycle.
That's not going to fly.
Megyn, no, this is going to fly, Megyn, because this is completely irrelevant. This is completely irrelevant to the election cycle.
It's not completely irrelevant. You have a lot of people in this country, in particular African Americans, who feel that that position was a racist position meant to delegitimize the president. I'm taking no position on this. I'm relaying to you what they've said. And his own campaign manager came out and said he has shifted his belief on this, and now when asked directly, he refuses to confirm that. Why?
And you also have a poll in South Carolina that shows that Mr. Trump is pushing on 30% African-American support, and Hillary Clinton has insulted half of the country.
That's a dodge.
This is not, no, it's not, Megyn. I'm telling you, Mr. Trump has said he's not going to talk about it. I have given you the answer.
He said yes.
You want to know why?
He said,
that is up to him.
Like there's like a tease baked into it. I just don't want to answer it yet. Robert, what do you think?
The media is not going to force Mr. Trump to say anything he's not ready to say.
The media didn't force him to come out and take a position being a birther, but he did.
And now we're following up because he wants to be commander-in-chief. That came out of Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008. That's already been established.
Given the chance to question her about it, we certainly will. But right now we have you. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, let's be clear. It's not about asking Donald Trump to be robotic. It's about asking Donald Trump to have honor and decency and show respect for the truth. That's what's at issue here. And that's really what's at issue here, because in fact,
you support Hillary Clinton.
I beg your pardon?
You're talking about respect for the truth, and you are a Hillary Clinton supporter, and the American people think that she is not truthful, to put it gently.
But when that's not, Megyn, you're dodging the issue here. We're talking about the fact that Donald Trump will not discuss whether in
fact... You're in a little glass
May I finish
house.
my point, please?
We're talking about truth.
We're talking about truth, and we're talking about Donald Trump refuses to recognize that President Obama is an American citizen. And that reflects, despite what his supporters say, it's disgraceful, it's racist, and it's dishonest. For that matter, with Pastor Timmons, like a typical bully and a coward, when he went to the church, Pastor Timmons stood up and defended him when he was being heckled. And then when Pastor Timmons told him to respect the rule of what the church had asked him to do, he backed down. He did what he was told.
He handled it nicely in the church.
He was very respectful. He was very respectful, George.
And then when he left the church and was on Fox and Friends this morning, he lied about her. He called her a nervous mess, like a typical bully. When he was confronted, he backed down. And when he was on his own, he went out there and tried to antagonize.
Go ahead, Kat.
He made an observation. He felt like the woman was nervous. That's not an attack, and that's not an insult.
He lied about
and that
it,
is not racist, George.
You know something?
You are not. You weren't there. How can you sit there and say that? You weren't there.
The media
Mr. Trump
covered
made
it.
an observation.
The media covered it. The media covered it. But here's the bigger point.
Oh, the media covered it.
This is what he said. Just
Katrina,
about
here's the bigger
the
point.
Reverend Faith Green Timmons. Let me just tell the audience. He said she was so nervous. This is on Fox and Friends. She was a nervous mess, and so I figured I figured something was up, really.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is...
How is that an attack, and how is that racist,
I'll tell you
George?
why it's an attack. Because Pastor Timmons defended him in the church when he was heckled, and in fact...
So she couldn't be nervous?
And then when he
couldn't be nervous?
And then when he left, like a typical bully, he just started to malign her. But here's the bigger point. Today, Donald Trump Jr. tried to minimize the Holocaust, the tragic loss of, the unspeakable loss of 6 million lives by comparing it to a bad day in the campaign trail.
I don't know about that, Robert. I don't know about that.
Well, I do. We heard the words.
Megyn,
He's clarified what his comment meant, and
George wants to divert from other things like Hillary Clinton's IT.
First of all, it's Robert.
And
secondly,
when you talk,
we're talking about showing
George,
respect for the.
We're talking about, you brought up Donald Trump Jr., so I want to address that. He talked about the gas chamber because it's a form of capital punishment right here in the United States as recently as 2010. Last week he brought up the electric chair.
Just so let me just jump in, because you've lost the audience now. They don't know what you're talking about, and that's my job to make sure they do. Donald J. Trump Jr. Tonight said that he defended his comments, saying that they'd be warming up the gas chamber if Trump had said, I'm trying to find the original comment. In any event, he made some comment about if my dad did that, they'd be warming up the gas chamber for him. And then you had the Anti-Defamation League come out. And then you had the Anti-Defamation, if he acted like Clinton, he'd be getting the gas chamber. Anti-Defamation League said that's inappropriate. You don't make references to the Holocaust. He came out and said it was actually a reference to capital punishment. We're going to leave it at that. He's tried to clarify it. Great debate. Great to see you both.